Dun, 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 dun. Do you like AI?
So I've used AI on a couple different occasions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
Not
too
big
handy
into
with
it.
it.
It's
I'm indifferent at the moment.
different.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's a tool,
Correct.
that's here for us to use. And
Yeah.
I've been pumping pumping it like crazy.
Yeah.
And I always find it interesting the type of intros that it gives out.
Yeah.
And I've been asking myself, do I give an intro or not? And I think it always starts the episode with a nice
Cool.
nice kick. So
Cool.
here it is.
Yeah.
The intro for Cody.
Cool.
It says, what happens when a national team goalkeeper trades the net for a new mission? One that still keeps him close to the game, but with an even bigger purpose. This week on the Mas Futbol Podcast, we welcome back Cody Laurendi, former Puerto Rican national team and Energy FC keeper, now a mentor, agent, and advocate for the next generation. From his time between the posts to his current work in player representation and community-driven soccer programs, Cody's journey is proof that the game never really leaves you. Let's dive into culture, identity beyond playing, and how Cody is shaping the game from behind the scenes. Cody Laurendi, welcome to the Mas Futbol Podcast. How are you today?
I'm good, man. Thank you for that intro. I'm gonna have to use AI a little bit more because that's awesome.
Yeah.
that's awesome, and that encapsulates, what this phase of my life is.
How have things changed from the last time we've recorded?
Yeah.
A lot has changed. You touched on it a little bit ago. You had a kid. Nothing changes you in life than having a kid. How has the experience been for you and your wife?
Oh my gosh. Life felt like it was at a 10 pre-child. It's hard to give blanket advice to everybody, but being a father, and my little one is now, he'll be 2 in July. Mm-hmm. And he's starting to develop a little personality, mm-hmm. right? He's able to grasp, some words. He's able to tell us what he wants. Every day you wake up, it's awesome. It really is. It's awesome. And it provides you this next level of purpose in your life. I was already an empathetic individual pre-child, but I think you double down on that empathy, and it is just, it's hard to put into words, clearly.
Definitely.
And as somebody who has multiple children that we were talking about offline, it's the best.
Yeah, and talk about perspective too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, all those words that my parents used to tell me when I was a kid, that when they would say, "You'll understand one day."
Yes.
It all hit me like a sack of bricks in one day.
Yeah. I find myself, I sound like my father. We would view that as a negative mm-hmm. for the longest time, and then you realize, oh wow, mom and dad were really instilling a base, mm-hmm. A scaffolding, if you will, of how to make your way through this life and make a great life at it. And, just thankful, just very, very thankful.
Super thankful. And at 2 years old, they are starting to form their personalities. Boy or girl?
Little boy.
Nice. Yeah, they're forming their personalities. And it's really scary when you start to think about how much they learn from you and your wife. Like everything is just going to come from you. And I see it now when they're now 7 and 6, how much it's rubbed off and how much personalities and how much budding of personalities goes on.
Of course.
But that is what life is about.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It is. It amplifies everything.
Yeah.
All that is good. Yes. Is it difficult? Yeah, at times. But, from a husband to spouse standpoint, I mean, our passion is soccer, right? Mm-hmm. What better example than to be a great teammate to your husband or to your wife? Mm-hmm. And it's communication, it's scheduling, it's planning, it's being prepared, mm-hmm. right? All those things.
Prepare for the unprepared, right?
Exactly.
You mentioned soccer, so it's a good
Yes.
segue to go. Like, how is soccer in your life now that you have been more busy? I did bring up that you're an agent. Are you still doing your agent work?
Yes.
Still doing your agent work. You're still doing nonprofit work.
Correct.
So I'm curious. I want to dive into all of it.
Of course.
But where is soccer with your life right now?
Oh, it's on max. It's 10 out of 10. It's multiple different funnels, if you will, whether it be nonprofit work or agency work or coaching, but it all flows to the same, spot, which is soccer. So yes, last time we spoke, what was it, like 2-3 years ago now, right?
Yeah, I was at my aunt's real estate place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, time freaking flies, doesn't it?
Yeah, right.
So still very much running my own business. It's myself and my father. Football Career Management is the name. We've built a very good reputation within the representation world. We work both on the men's and the women's side. Most agencies, they stick to one or the other. Now you have the big ones, the Wassermans of the world, the CAA, all these agencies that have massive resources, that have 100, 200, agents deployed. They have the resources to do so, to be working on both sides. So obviously they take a big portion of the pie when it comes to, available talent. Where we have found our niche, if you will, is the current pro that is just unhappy with the level of service that a quote unquote bigger agency would provide them. So say they were a highly touted recruit out of college or a player out of college, or, they got drafted, if we're talking to MLS, and their career maybe had taken, a little bit of a downturn. Well, the business side of soccer very much is, what have you done for me lately? Okay. And within that, if you are a player and you are not performing, right, and you're not earning money for, the agency, even getting them to return a phone call becomes more difficult, right? Even getting these individuals to advocate on your behalf to other teams becomes a little difficult, because when you're part of a bigger organization like these big time agencies, you're, client number 172 on a client sheet list of 400 players.
It's probably not in their favor to try to help out a player when the potential for one that's doing the right things is so high.
Correct. You want to talk about, it's on let's say an 8 to 10 month cycle, right? Because the draft happens, how we do it in the US, obviously it's going away, from that type of. Is
they're doing it different?
Yeah, MLS and NWSL this past season, they did away with the draft, which your guess is as good as mine. What is going to replace it, right? But it's a situation where even players, I'd like to look, I don't know the percentages off the top of my head, even if you get drafted, and this is maybe a good bit of knowledge for your listener base, even if you get drafted, it doesn't guarantee you a contract.
It doesn't, because they maybe end up playing in USL, they get drafted to the second team,
Correct.
And then even then, as a professional organization, how do I plan for a player I can get when I'm in a list of when I get to choose? Unless you're the first pick or the second pick, you really know what you're going to get to.
Correct.
So I had always thought that the draft didn't really fit for soccer.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Now with how college players are getting NIL deals, it's changed the way, things are getting done, you know? So I don't know, maybe they can just go out and pick and choose college players as they see. I don't know. I don't know. What is the answer? What's the right way?
So what I've observed, a lot of it has to do with the academy setup, right? So MLS teams that have MLS academies. Now the NWSL on the women's side is a little unique. I believe they're attempting to start a Division II and basically create it as like their farm system. MLS teams, either they're buying the best talent available from Europe, right? I don't necessarily see a lot of development from the quote unquote homegrown, right, player. Most of those players that play, let's say they start their career in an MLS Next Pro, right? They are making money. They are full-time pro, right? But the percentages of those players that actually make first team or make it to a first team environment and then play meaningful minutes is extremely low. So what happens to 95% of those players? Well, their career either gets cut short, and we're talking cut short by, you're done by 19, 20 years of age, right? Or those players that, have the skill, right? Have the mental fortitude, right? That can be a pro. And that's another topic of conversation I'd love to dive into, what it really means to be a pro. But those who can actually cut it day in, day out, 10, 11, 12 months out of the year, right? Performing at a high level regardless of how you feel, right? Those players generally find themselves in the USL, whether it be USL League One or USL Championship. So kind of getting back to our strategy, and I say it's myself and my father. I handle all things player recruitment and contract negotiation. He handles all things invoicing and player agent agreements. So he's kind of my back office, member / business partner. We have really found our I'd say, good momentum in being individuals who people can trust, people can rely on, people know that we will go to bat and advocate for their qualities, not only on the field, right, or on the pitch, but as a positive contributing member to a team in within a locker room environment, right? I can guarantee you that the people that I work for, are the closest thing to being a captain as you're going to get, right? That gives me the opportunity to provide, I'd say, a level of insight to these coaches and to these technical directors and to these general managers that, hey, the player that you're getting that I represent, it fits a certain type of mold. It's a leader, right? He or she is going to be a leader and a value add to your organization. Not just, hey, can this person score goals or can this goalkeeper keep the ball in the back of the net? No, they're going to bring a little something extra, right? They got a little chip on their shoulder, right? But they're professional, and they're professional in their preparation, and they're professional in their performance. So those are the players that we have really, really kind of gravitated towards. And then from a marketing standpoint, those players tell players, right? My best marketing is the job that I do for our current athletes. And we represent about 30 players right now. I get a call from a current client, say, hey, Code, are you guys taking on new clients for the summer or new clients for the next season? Generally, my response is I'll always have a conversation. Mm-hmm. I'll always listen, right? How can I best be of service? And sometimes it's not a great fit. Sometimes they'll say, yeah, can you get me a boot deal? Can I get you a boot deal? How about you worry about making a first team appearance, right? And then we can talk. You're wanting end result, but you're not focused on process.
Does it happen a lot?
Yeah. Because, and again, I don't fault anybody, but what is valued, right, is the social media culture. I love social media. I love, Instagram, Twitter, all these things, right? But what is shown as value toward, and what is getting the most likes is the end result.
Yeah, the goals.
Is the goals, right? The goals, or I drive a nice car, mm-hmm. or I do this. Or, no, that's the end, right? That's the consequence of the action, right? And in order to obtain the consequence, right, action, you have to stack action on top of action on top of action. It ain't just Monday I did good. Now where's the result? No, go do it again and again and again and again.
Yeah, some people make it seem easy, right?
Oh my gosh.
Some professionals make it seem easy.
Yeah.
And kind of screws the perspective on how we think we should. But
of course,
it is a long process.
Of course.
Again and again and again. I have a lot of questions. How many players do you think we lose out of those those second chance opportunities that aren't provided?
Yeah, that's a great question, because what you see now, because everything is trending so much younger, right? Oh, I'm going to turn pro at 16. Oh, I'm going to turn pro at 17. Wonderful. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, right? Because physical maturity is evident. You can see, wow, this young person is literally head and shoulders and strong. What is in short supply, right, is emotional intelligence, right? What happens between the ears when things aren't going great, right? So you'll get these players that are given an opportunity, let's say at an MLS academy, right? And they're given everything, and they get boots for free, or if you're a goalkeeper, you get gloves for free, and you're traveling, sometimes you get to travel just like the first team travel, or close to it, right? Everything is taken care of for you. So you get almost used to that. Then coach calls you in the office at the end of the season and said, hey, Ricardo, listen, thank you for everything that you've done, but you're now surplus to requirement, and we wish you the best. Well,
surplus to requirement. They just hit me with that.
That's
how they use it, huh?
That's the reality, man. That's the reality. So at 17, 18, 19 years of age, right? I know at my age, I could say, hindsight being 20, I could have dealt with this. No, I probably couldn't have. Being told that you're no longer needed and good luck. And then you're not given, right? Or if you don't have a strong support system, whether it be mom and dad, agent, right? Or coaches that will vouch for you, you're not given the necessary tools to emotionally be able to deal with that internally and then say, okay, now let's turn the page, right? And then now let's look what's next.
Turn the page. That's very important.
Right, exactly. If you want to use that as motivation. Oh, this coach didn't believe in me. Go for it. No problem. I mean, intrinsically or internally, I went through things in my career where I used as motivation. And is it healthy or not? That's not for me to say.
Up to debate, but
it's yes,
whatever
exactly.
motivates
whatever
you.
motivates you. Right. The problem is there are so many kids that when that happens to them, they don't have the emotional intelligence to be able to deal with it, and then say, okay, all right, one step forward, or excuse me, one step forward, two steps back sometimes. Generally, that opportunity then comes in the form of a USL trial, right? Let's be charitable and say, oh yeah, they're gonna sign a contract. Well, then it's viewed as, oh, I got to drop down a level, or oh, I'm less than, or then the ego kicks in. Oh, well, I was this. Well, I was that. Well, no. My advice to these players that I speak with that have this viewpoint is like, hey, look, the game doesn't care about you. And I hate to say that and sounding negative, but it's the reality, right? It is a very much next man, next woman up business, right? Where is your opportunity, right? You talk about, let's grow where you're planted. Right? Let's not look where somebody else is or what somebody else is doing. Let's focus on us. Let's bring it back home. Let's focus narrowly, right? That way I can stack good day on top of good day on top of good day, right? And then really take advantage of a USL opportunity, right? Whether it be League One or Championship, and really, really find out, one, what I'm about as a human being, right? Having to go through it day in and day out, and then two, going on the field and performing to the level that I know I'm capable of.
Grow where you're planted.
Grow where you're planted.
I love that one.
It's human nature to be like, oh, look what he has or look what she has. That's the mental exercise in all of this, right? And it's a character builder. It's, hey, your path is different than my path, is different than his path, that is different than her path, right? I know what I'm capable of. Right. And I know what I can achieve, through physical and mental focus. Focus on yourself. Damn. Focus on yourself.
And this happens at the end of the season to so many players.
I don't know the percentage. I would venture to guess in the 90%.
Of course. Because the closer you get to the top, the more you're getting cut. And the thing is, that's a problem that everyone will eventually face at some time of their season. So depending on where you go from there, really says a lot, which shows me the value in investing in a player who is in that situation. Because like the first question I made to you is, how many players do we lose in those situations? Well, imagine the players that come back from those situations.
Correct.
And the type of strength that they've built from that type of adversity.
Yep.
You said it yourself. Some of these players that you're representing are almost captain level.
Yes.
Why is that? Because they've faced a rocky situation and come out on top of that.
Exactly.
And that shows a different type of player and the reputation of the type of players that you're representing. It's such a relationship game, but you're also like, this is probably the language you're using with some of your players to pull them back and say, look, man, you're really head focused in that, and that's good, but you have to step back and look at it from hindsight. It might be USL, but also it is USL. You know what I mean?
Correct.
All these players that would love to try out to go see USL, but this is another opportunity, and it's up to you. Is it the end game, or is this just another step?
Right. And it's perspective, and that's the best part about my personal experience as a player that I can lean on. I can say, look, I'm not telling you what I think you want to hear. I'm telling you what you need to hear based off of what I've experienced, right? I've found myself in your shoes. I found myself, not making away trips. So not being on that game day roster, that 18 roster, yet still being the guy that has to drive everybody to the airport, right? I've felt that, right? It sucks. Tough. It sucks, right? You bust your butt all week, right, for the opportunity to sit on the bench. It sucks. But can you use that in a healthy way as fuel, right? I don't want to feel like this, right? So I'm going to do everything in my power to prepare the best way I possibly can to make certain, or as close to certain, that the outcome is a favorable one for me. And it takes time. It takes years, right? And that's the other thing. Being honest with people and saying, this is not an overnight fix, right? This takes years, right? And you almost have to callous your brain to think in this way, right? And if you do, right, maybe it happens and maybe it doesn't, right? There's circumstances that are out of your control, out of my control, out of anybody's control. But you can definitely put yourself in the best possible position for it to happen, right? Through your action.
Because preparation breeds opportunities.
Exactly. And the opportunity, like that's the other thing. It's like, hey, the opportunity will come. Now, will you be prepared for it? Right? And that kind of delves into like nerves and everything like that. And my perspective on it is like, hey, it's twofold. Nerves are good because you care about the job that you're going to do, right?
Yeah,
that's a positive. It means you care, right? Nerves can also be, I'm unprepared for the moment and I don't want to look silly, or I don't want to be made to look a fool, right? So how can you alleviate that perspective? Prepare. Work as hard as you possibly can. Know in your mind, in your brain, in your heart that I did everything possible to put myself in a position to have success.
2 questions, and I don't know which one to ask first, but the people you're representing now are becoming younger. Is that right?
Yes and no. Like, I'll give you an example. Like MLS Next, like the showcases that they do, right? I don't have the resources or time, nor do I care. And I don't say that to be big-headed or egotistical. I do not care to go to these events and provide the same spiel to 50 different parents of a 16-year-old, right? I'm not doing that. Like we mentioned, like the bigger agencies, the ones that have the resources to be able to, pay for 50 agents and right. That's not me. That's not me. And frankly, I'm not interested in just traveling for work all that much.
Yeah.
Right. I do travel. I go up to Tulsa. I'll go down to Dallas, Kansas City every now and again to see clients. But to hop on a plane, right, to spend time away from my family, right, to just, from my viewpoint on a lot of this in this industry is more ego stroking, if you will. I'm not interested in that. I know that if I do well and do right by people and can create relationships based off of trust, I know that I will continue to be successful. And it doesn't require me to hop on a plane. It doesn't require me to go to a mixer event, right? And shoot the you-know-what with the who's who, if you will. I'm not interested in any of that. I'm genuinely interested in advocating for good people and quality footballers.
Yeah, talk about having really good because it's relationships with players, organizations, coaches.
Yep.
And man.
Yeah, GMs, technical directors, whoever the decision maker is, and that's another thing. It's like
who that is.
Yeah, like I stay out of the way of middle management in a sense as much as I possibly can. Who is the decision maker, right? Sometimes it's a coach, sometimes it's a GM, right? Let's speak directly with them, and let's not BS, right? Let's be honest. Hey, this player can do X, Y, and Z for you. Here's where he or she's shortcomings are, right? You can be honest and still be successful in business.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because it goes back to the relationships that you have to build.
Correct. I never understood this. I don't care. You pay me. I'm going to take you to the cleaners.
How's that going to help me?
How is that going to one, build trust, and ultimately how is that going to lend itself to repeat business, right? It's a finite amount. There's a finite amount of clubs. There's a finite amount of jobs, right? I want to be known as somebody I'm not going to roll over, right, and say, yeah, whatever you need. We can have sometimes if you want a spirited back and forth of like, I disagree, you disagree, but let's come to an agreement, right? That's best for the player. But I also know that if my approach is already steeped in negativity and saying, Ricardo, I'm going to take you to the cleaners. I'm going to get everything, you owe us everything. No. Then you're not going to want to do business with me again, right? So long-term relationships with long-term people is what I'm after.
Yeah, and then word gets around.
Yeah, exactly. And then okay, the player is absolutely crushing it, 10 goals, 6 assists, and the club wants to renegotiate, but they're like, oh man.
If he wasn't being represented by this guy, it'd make it so much easier.
Correct. Exactly. That happens a lot. That happens a lot.
That sucks for the player who has no idea.
Yeah.
Or he probably has an idea, but it just, it's just...
Yeah. And listen, human nature, again, you could say, yeah, but maybe you're leaving something on the table. Okay. Well, let's look at it through the lens of this. If you live let's take Tulsa, for example. All right. And they're willing to offer you a contract that, one, you're going to retain a lot more of your money, right? 2, but actually more importantly, they're going to provide a great opportunity for you career-wise, right? Versus, okay, California, there's a team in Monterey Bay and they're going to pay you an extra 10 G's per year. Okay, well, let's talk about something as simple as cost of living, right? I know the shiny new object. It goes back to focusing on and tending to the part of the garden that you can touch. It's having and teaching and educating players that, let's look at the total opportunity cost, not just, the shiny new object that has, shown interest in my talents. So it's, some days I'm friend, some days I'm mentor, some days I'm psychologist, psychiatrist, parent sometimes. And by no means do I have it all figured out.
Yeah, you must have learned a lot between when we first spoke and to where we are now. Because there's so many situations that are being played out and so many different variables, you know what I mean, that have to be taken into consideration. Yeah. So, that's a big jigsaw puzzle that you're trying to put together. But It seems like you're putting it together pretty well.
Hey, progress, no matter how slow the process. That's the reality. I am in competition with no one. I want the best. I want to pull the best out of me, right? I want to exhaust my potential, right? Helping people. And again, I'm not Mother Teresa. I want to be as successful as I can, from a monetary standpoint, of course. But more so, my goal, and maybe this is a little counterintuitive to what I just said, but I want to be able to fly my family to Barcelona, to fly my family to Turin, to fly my family to the UK, sign a player, and then say, hey, let's go on vacation, right? Let's go. Let me show my son the San Siro or somewhere like that. That's my ultimate goal, and that's how I would
on a business trip,
right? That's how I would judge success in this player representation world, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, what I think of is a lot of us try to worry about what we can control,
right?
But you're very much in an industry where you're put in a situation where there's a lot of uncontrollables. But you're trying to control what's essentially uncontrollable. You know what I mean?
Correct.
These situations, how the player reacts to what you're saying, and all that is out of your control.
Correct.
But you're at the same time trying to reel it all in for the best possible outcome, not only for yourself, but the people you're representing and the clubs
Correct.
and the coaches. So it's very overwhelming.
It can be. It can be. The differentiating factor here between, let's use tennis, for example, right? And soccer, right? The sport that we are involved in, soccer, is a very much from a professional standpoint, a subjective sport. And what I mean by that is you look at tennis, me versus you. You beat me on the court. Objectively, you're better. Well, from a professional standpoint, right, I don't value what this player brings to the team, or I do value what this player brings to the team. You deal with that constantly. And it's opinions, right? So it's not an objective sport. It's, in every sense of the word, it's subjective based off of,
all the factors that play into a professional team.
Stylistically, right? Where you're at in your career, right? How many games did you play last year? And then you get down to the tactics / advanced analytics that are just, in my opinion, plaguing soccer right now, where it's like pass percentage and all this stuff. It's like, guys, this is a human-driven sport, right? There's so many other factors that matter, and that's not to say statistical breakdowns don't matter. They do.
Yeah,
there's a place for them.
Baseball, basketball.
Yes, and I understand them, but they cannot be the end-all, be-all, the total solution, if you will. It's a part of a bigger picture.
Yeah, because as a soccer player, you know that there's certain statistics that don't keep up with how a certain player may impact the pitch.
Exactly.
He might not score goals, he might not get assists, but maybe his role as a center defensive mid just translates a little differently.
Yeah, I was going back and forth with a team last year that they didn't want to guarantee shutout bonuses for goalkeepers. And I go, if they didn't make playoffs, and I go, hold on a second. His job is to keep the ball at the back of the net, not to score, right? So you're punishing him for keeping you guys in the game, right? And let's take it a step further. I've been on teams where I've seen keepers that I've been teammates with or played against that have had unbelievable seasons, 8 shutouts, 10 shutouts, and they don't make playoffs. By every metric, that is a phenomenal season, and you're not going to reward your player for that. Like, it's not his job to put the ball in the back of the net, but it is his job to keep it out. And if he does it, let's say a third of the season, if you're playing a 30-game schedule, right? That is, you got the goalkeeper of the year.
Yeah.
You got to go, like, that's why the one size fits all approach. He can't view it through this singular lens, because, you know, when you're trying to get these deals across the line, you almost have to justify why teams should do what you're asking of them.
Damn, that's crazy. They picked the wrong agent to.
I know. It's like if one thing that I know, it would be goalkeeping.
yeah, and the perspective of a keeper.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, I use personal experience. I was like, I did it. Like, and so you're gonna punish a player for being the keeper of the year? Come on.
Yeah. Well, so we can, to segue out of the agent life, which is, I feel like we can just go on forever. You know what I mean? We, just to touch on your career, and we also touched about opportunities and key moments. Would you say there was a key moment in your career that, whether it be a play, a block, or just a key game that just turned it all around for you?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good question. You know, up until I moved here in 2016 to play for the Energy, I never had a coach, and I was a pro for 10 years at that time, or up until that point. I never had a coach that said, you're my guy, right? What you have, we value, and we want you to hear. It's not an action. It's not like me claiming a cross or distribution or making a big save. It's more of Jimmy Nielsen calling me that offseason, 2015 offseason, and saying, hey, we want you here. We value what you bring to our team, and you're our guy. So that was a moment that I always will look to, because up until that point, very much a number two, right? No matter all my stops. Number two, with the Galaxy for the 2014 season, excuse me.
And if you want to learn about that, tune into the first episode.
There you go.
We learned about how he lacerated his kidney in a corner kick, starting the season, and the trials and tribulations of a professional soccer player.
Yes, exactly. The LA experience was good for me personally. I was still very much a number two, but I was able to take advantage of opportunities through injuries from like first team goalkeepers that would normally get those reserve league matches. So, you know, up until coming here, that was the extent of my professional experience. You know, I was getting a game here, a game there. LA comes and I'm getting a run of 20 games. I'm like, ooh, this is nice. And then the following year, I go to Austin and it's like, stop.
Yeah, the trials and tribulations of a keeper, because it's only one position you're fighting for, as opposed to a defender who can maybe play the right, maybe play the center. Yeah, it's cutthroat between the keepers, and the keeper knows that when the second, you know, it's how is that relationship, because there's a second and a third keeper, and while there is unity amongst the keepers, you know that they're all gunning for each other's throats.
It's human nature, right? How we did it, or how I tried to carry myself, was I'm supportive. Because if I'm in his situation, I want to be supportive or I want people backing me, but understanding that if your number is called, I'm prepared, right? And that is all you can ask for as a pro, as a teammate, as being a good teammate, right? Being a value addition to a team. That's the only thing that I would care about as a manager. And that's something that we did really well here, right? Yes, we all want to have the number one shirt, right? But we understand that supporting somebody else's success will never dampen your own.
Dang, that's a good way to put it.
That's how, and again, that's kind of more, you take that view on life. That's really important too.
Definitely helps being in a professional environment. Because of course, we're all competitive. We're all good. And we all think we're the best. Right? And we have empirical evidence that we are the best based off of past experience.
And we've seen ourselves.
Yes, exactly. So it's an exercise in emotional intelligence.
Yeah, that's very true. You brought up how the confidence he gave you by saying you're our keeper. And when you said that, it reminded me of that. Of course, dude, the Cody Laurendi days of Energy, and the time that you got to defend the host.
Yeah.
And essentially, yes, very much so. The Energy's brand was tied to your brand as well, because you were the keeper, man. All those top 10 saves that we would see in the eventually representation. And
those are still our great days that we're in, but man, to reminisce on your playing days, right?
Yeah, it's cool. I don't like to be like, remember when,
That's
but I don't like, but I had such a great experience with the organization. I created a name for myself, right? And I cared about that. I cared about that massively because up until 10 years in, you're an afterthought, right? And what you do with it when you do get your opportunity, right? It's on you, right? To be a positive contributing member to an organization and a local community. But it felt great. It felt great to feel valued. Just it's, again, human nature, right? Make somebody feel valued, feel appreciated for the work that they do, and they're going to run through the proverbial brick wall for you.
Dang, that's wild. I love how we got here.
Yeah, man.
To segue into something else, then.
Yeah.
Impacting the community. You made Oklahoma City home, and now you're doing this nonprofit work. Yeah. How are you marrying the soccer with the nonprofit work here through Fields and Futures, and more or less like what is your role here at Fields and Futures?
For sure. Yeah. So I'm the director of soccer with Fields and Futures. What that entails is opportunity, whether it be camps, clinics, coaching education, talent identification, right? So that's a big part of my role moving forward, because I feel, as somebody who came from a small town from Florida, but I didn't come from Miami. I didn't come from Orlando or Tampa, where soccer specifically, those were hotbeds, right? I came from a smaller town, so it was overlooked. We have a lot of that here in Oklahoma City, in Oklahoma in general.
In the metro area.
Correct. There's talent here, right? There's no reason why talent here cannot be identified and opportunity being provided. And I feel like I can positively impact that, whether it be through ID camps. Oklahoma Christian is a good example. We went to the ACAC preseason tournament. I identified 5 players, I think 3 from Southeast and 2 from class and SAS. Fields and Futures were able to come in behind and take care of the registration for the athletes to participate in the identification camp. And we now have a goalkeeper from class and SAS that is signed with Oklahoma Christian and is able to then, there you go, I like it.
Very well deserved.
Yeah. And again, let's keep this in perspective here. We play a small role, but we play a role, right? That is something moving forward I know for a fact that I can positively impact. So we do things like that throughout the year. Summer's coming up, right? Summer's practically here. We'll be doing free camps and free clinics throughout the entire summer, providing opportunity and exposure, right? And then I was going
to say, we call that Mas Futbol here.
Mas Futbol, there you go. Yeah. And then taking it a step further, I know you and I both know Franco, right? So Franco, what a guy. Definitely. What a guy. Love that guy. He was able to send 5 Northwest Classen players, right?
Give them the experience
down in Arlington, right? I think it was Canada versus Mexico. We're playing in a friendly. And it wasn't a situation where like, here you go, kids, here's 5 tickets to go watch a match. They got to watch the match. They showed up the day before, right? And they worked, right? And they received real life experience, real life exposure to, all right, maybe I'm not the athlete on the field, but I'm in the production truck.
Yes, it shows players that there's other ways to stay involved in the game.
Exactly.
And to provide context, for a good friend, Franco, works with FIFA.
Correct.
And I don't quite understand what exactly he does, but he is there, whether it's making sure that the stadiums are up par for the standards that they need, but he's now involved in the World Cup and preparing Dallas and other stadiums for them to be in. Being able to show people that there is life after soccer is so valuable, and doing it in this way, those are very, very valuable opportunities. That's crazy that those Northwest Classen kids got to experience.
Exactly, and we got to kind of debrief with them after the experience, right? And that's what we're here to do, right? Is to open up young people's eyes to see, hey, there's a whole big world out there, and let's not be so narrow-minded that if it happens, it only can happen for you on the field. There are career opportunities for you to be involved in sports and entertainment that don't require you to be on the field, right? And that's where, from a Fields and Futures mission standpoint, right? More kids, more teams, right? If you're on a team, you're more likely to attend school, right? If you're attending school, you're more likely to and you're on a team, you're more likely to graduate, have a GPA that keeps you eligible, right? And then graduate and then become a positive contributing member to society. So we're focusing on the here and now, but the ultimate goal is the outcome.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful mission. It is a beautiful mission. The McLaughlin family and Tim specifically, I worked for him as a player when he owned the Energy, now being a part of this organization. And look, there's a me for cross country and track and field. David Crines is what a legend that man is,
Definitely.
Right? And we're looking to implement this throughout all sports. This here in Oklahoma City, you'd be hard pressed to find a better district athletic director, right? But Eddie Wright, I can't say enough great things about him, right? Eddie, whatever you need, he's always willing to help.
He's a soccer guy.
He's a soccer guy, right? He understands it. He gets it. He cares deeply about the young person here in the OKC Metro. We are lucky to have somebody like him.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. There's so much that we can go from here. It's just, I was so amazed at what you brought up about how you're tying in the agent, being able to have that eye with those players that you get to see, because essentially you're getting to see the pool of Oklahoma City.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because the good ones obviously get to go play club, but where are all the kids at? Well, they're in those public
Correct.
school systems, and having
Correct.
those eyes to provide those opportunities for players that might not know that are there is so valuable. I was speaking to someone and said, I didn't start playing club until I was in high school. Why? Because we didn't even know there was such a thing until I started seeing that those guys are really good. Well, where do you play? Oh, there's a club soccer, and we got in late to the game, but having an eye for it at that level, and it's crazy the amount of opportunities that can come from.
Exactly. And that's what we're not changing the world per se. So our mission is very, very focused on how can we affect our community, right? We focus on the micro. The macro takes care of itself, and that's what we're here to do. So, and it takes time. It's going to take time. I came on at the tail end of 2024. Now we have empirical evidence that we have a pathway, and we could provide a pathway. We could provide value, right, to young people. And it's a compounding, compound interest, if you will,
Yeah,
right?
Mas Futbol.
There you go.
Yeah, because I can only imagine the kids that you impact now, and let's say they eventually do graduate, and then you could also provide volunteering opportunities for those that want to impact others the way they were impacted, and it's just a self-revolving door that just takes time.
Exactly. So, our challenge, if you will, the alleviating, not necessarily alleviating pay to play. I think
It'll be hard to do it.
Exactly. Especially when you realize, okay, this is big business, right? And people don't like any issues with, impeding or what is viewed as impeding on their business. I get that. But, right, providing equal opportunity is what I'm about, right? I'm not interested in, and this may sound a little harsh, but I don't care. I'm not interested in equal outcome, because there's effort inequality, right? What I care about is opportunity, right? And what you do with that opportunity is up to you. You may take it and say, I'm going to succeed no matter what. Others might say, you know what, whatever. Okay, well, then don't complain that the outcome isn't what you wanted if you didn't put in the necessary time, right, to achieve a specific outcome. So what I care deeply about is equality of opportunity.
Yeah, and Fields and Futures is just empowering you to do that.
Yeah, they're saying, hey, go for it. They're giving me the keys, right? They're giving me the keys. So, able to utilize our facility that's maintained off of 63rd.
Potential World Cup hosting.
Yeah,
facility.
Exactly. We're going through it right now. They're asking.
Must be very interesting.
They being FIFA are asking for all sorts of specs in terms of, hey, what type of grass is it? What's the irrigation system look like? All things. It's fascinating.
Which is only going to improve the facility, which is only going to in turn improve the facility that some of these kids are going to get to experience.
Exactly. So right now, and you saw it recently when you went out there to see the YMCA. Because your daughter's involved, right?
My son is involved, and now I got involved as a coach too. So we're coaching out of Bethany.
There you go. So you saw, 700-800 kids are currently playing and utilizing those fields on the weekend. And it's not just, we care very deeply about the experience, right? And it's a top class experience. I mean,
Definitely.
they take care, they're meticulous with that grass. Part of my role is managing, who utilizes it, right? And having to have those tough conversations if it rained yesterday and the water's, the pitch is waterlogged. Sorry. We want to provide an opportunity, but we also have to be protective over this asset. So yeah, it's cool. YMCA and PAL, those are the organizations that we've been working closely with, just because, one, they're great people. Two, the amount of kids that the desire, the market is there, right? 700-800 kids coming through that gate on any given Saturday, playing games from 8 a.m. all the way to 2 p.m., right? Having fun, being part of a team, learning those life skills, right? Learning the ability to work within a team, right? To communicate, the stick-to-itiveness that it requires to maybe play when you're down 1-0. All that stuff that you learn through sport and you learn it at an early age, we're able to provide or play a small role in experiencing that.
Yeah, it's those are amazing organizations. And I'll say something that you didn't bring up is it baffles me the amount of volunteers that they need and require, and how much they're always looking for volunteers. I mean, I got roped in because the coach there just couldn't anymore, and then I was asked to, and then being there and getting to see, it kind of showed me that, man, there's such a high need for people to come and just volunteer, considering how many players there are in the city, how many quality coaches that, could just go and dedicate 1 hour a week and then just an hour on the weekend to provide these kids to soccer. The way I'm looking at it with these U8s when I tackled this is, of course I got excited and could have attacked it very technically, and I planned my sessions beforehand.
Out the whiteboard.
I do. But the one thing that sticks out to me is if these kids can leave this season in love with the game and wanting to do it afterwards, then I did my job.
Exactly.
I always want to have a fun practice, and really, if I can make them want to play afterwards,
then you've done your job, right? They get excited to go to practice. It's I get to go to practice, not I have to go to practice.
This is as grassroots as it gets. Volunteering at the Y.
Agreed. And it is, everything's there. Everything is there in terms of opportunity. I think 8 to 10 game season,
and you get so much freedom, which can be good, but it could be bad as well. I can see for me that has a little bit of experience, I could fly with that. But unfortunately, for those coaches that don't have the experience, the freedom can kind of be something that works against them. You know what I mean? But, that's why I harp on, with all the players that we have in such a large soccer community, I feel like we could be giving back to those grassroots initiatives a little bit better.
Of course. No, I'm with you.
Yeah. Cody, we've covered a lot, and I feel like we haven't covered anything at the same time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You said the Y, not the Y, but Field and Futures is going to be active this summer with those opportunities for the OKCPS kids. More info to come on that probably, right?
Yeah, well, initially it's out on the OKCPS athletics website. June 3rd through the 5th, we'll be running camps free of charge for all OKCPS athletes. If there's, and again, at the end of this episode, I'll leave my information, right? So if anybody wants to get a hold of me, they can. I care much more about a quality experience than I do just checking a box. Right. So anything that has my name on it, there's a certain expectation of professionalism. Right. And that will show itself, so it's not something that you just show up to and there's a bag of balls and then go have a kick around for an hour and then see you later. No, I genuinely want to make an impression, right. A positive impression, one that creates an environment that kids want to be a part of, and two, want to tell their friends about and come back to.
And I also see that you guys are teaming up with a bunch of great coaches as well. Best is also working hand in hand sometimes with Fields and Futures.
Yes.
Bampa and his crew.
Yes. Alex is great. He runs a great organization. Up until this point, he's been gracious to scholarship all OKCPS athletes free of charge to all of his camps and clinics. So that has been a massive feather in our cap, and one that we don't take lightly, right? We don't want to provide any cut rate experience because lack of finances, right? We want a uniformed experience for all kids. So he has been, a joy to work with. Yeah, we have a good team. We have a good team, and we have people that want to help, right? And you marry those things together, and you genuinely have an opportunity at success.
Nice. So. Dude, that's very exciting to see. What is to come, and this is only a little bit after year one of being the director of soccer.
Not even
a year.
Not even a year. And again, progress is progress no matter how slow, right? Slow progress.
No matter how slow.
One foot in front of the other, right? Long-term view, right? And then it's just daily excellence, communicating with players, communicating with coaches, providing opportunity, networking, right? Relationships,
Always.
Relationship building, right? Because, at the end of the day, if you're not going to be successful if people don't want to work with you.
No. That's what I've learned a lot from a few of these conversations and the journey of coaches and how their path leads them to where they are. A lot has to do with how they carry themselves and the relationships they build, and you never know where your next opportunity will come as a coach.
Exactly.
So, and that speaks to anything, not just being a coach.
Yeah, not just athletics. Like you need people that are the whole quote unquote self-made. No, I don't agree with self-made. At some point in your life, somebody advocated for your quality, right? Or somebody helped you, right? The whole self-made BS is just that, BS.
I agree. Well, this is a good time to end the podcast, but I don't want to end it here. As an agent with a new professional team coming, yes. I feel like it's an interesting thing that's brewing there. But from you, it's a very exciting time in the city. Yesterday, I was they had a pop-up where they were talking a little bit about the brand with a few members of the community.
Yes.
And a lot of conversations were being had about what that brand should look like, what it could be, and all that stuff. Needless to say, it's very exciting. Everyone's very passionate about a professional team here. You being a member of the previous professional team, looking at it from a different perspective, like, what are your thoughts on where we are now and where we're going?
Yeah. Well, it's exciting, first and foremost. I would say this. There is an increased opportunity even now than there was 5 years ago. The USL has really found what's successful, and obviously the implementation or the future implementation of promotion relegation, I think, is going to be a massive feather in their cap.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yes. Every game is going to matter. And to me, it is such an American way. I think Americans specifically, because the rest of the world understands this is how world football works, right?
This is how you make diamonds.
Yes, exactly. There is no... professional sports, NBA, NFL, NHL.
It benefits for them to tank.
Yeah, you get rewarded for having a bad season? No. Sports are supposed to be a meritocracy, right? May the best team win, right? And yeah, if you have a bad season, you should not be rewarded for it. You should not be tanking for a certain draft pick, right? That's un-American.
I was thinking the same thing.
I'm sorry, it is un-American. So my point being, I think promotion and relegation is really going to suck in the casual fan, right? The casual fan. Because look, you look at the statistics, soccer is not going anywhere. There are more kids that are playing soccer than combined with every other youth sport, right? It is not going. Play the trends, right? Those kids who are going to take interest in their local pro team, right, are going to have mom and dad come pay for a ticket. And then, mom and dad are going to have to go buy some concessions. And you know what? How about we go so much? How about we buy a season ticket, right? And how about, hey, my kid's a striker. Let's go ask that striker if he or she will do a training session with us, right? And you're building relationships. But I think, and that's how I kind of did it, quote unquote, back in my day, right? But without sounding like Unc, but that's
10 years ago.
Time flies, man. Time flies. But that's how you're going to build a strong base within this community is access to players, right? I would say affordable pricing for a family of four, right? Something that you can build memories off of, right? And something that's going to keep you coming back because you're not going to win every game, right? And if you're going to have, which as far as I know nothing more than what I've read, that they want to bring an expansion team. They want to bring a team back the same time that they bring a stadium back. Look, expansion teams historically don't do well. Historically, like there's outliers, of course, right? Vegas Knights, I think, is a good one that you could look at and say, oh well, they were a team of misfits, right? Everybody's castaways, and they still crushed it, right? Okay, that happens, but the reality is,
it's a little bit harder.
It's going to be harder, right? It's going to be harder. The caliber of player that you're going to be able to attract is going to be of a higher quality, right? So you're going to have to pay more, right? So it's all happening, and it's all happening. If it all happens at once, right? It's great to be motivated and excited, but what happens when the motivation and excitement wanes, right? Naturally, right? You just have to make sure you have people there that are able to do the work day in and day out, not see the finish line, right? And still be able to perform at a high level regardless of how you feel.
Yeah. And that also goes back to the fans too, the supporter groups, the communities that want this club to be successful.
Yes.
Like when the games aren't going our ways, what are we going to do? Just abandon the team? No, that's when we have to be there for the team, because from what I was getting at in this meeting yesterday, this isn't just a USL brand that we're building here. Correct. They said it many times. This is a global brand that we are going to be birthing here in the next few years. And global brand. Yeah. Global brand was thrown around a number of times, and just like the Thunder, but not like the Thunder. It's going to be its own thing.
Correct. And I think two can coexist in the same community as well. I think there's clearly a wonderful basketball culture and a wonderful support system when it comes to, the basketball team, and obviously, college football dominates, our region, which is great. But there's also a faction of our community that can support, professional soccer, right? And frankly should, because it is the world's game. America is the world's melting pot, right? And the one through line that you see is everybody plays soccer. So
that'd be crazy. I could see Cody Laurendi taking all of OKCPS soccer to a game. Yeah, all of them, all OKCPS. Just let's fill up the 12,000 seats with all of OKCPS students that come and get free trainings. And dude, it's
Southeast High School walking out with the team, right? Or I don't know, Capitol Hill Middle School or Wheeler Middle School, they're ball boys and ball girls or something like that. Exposure, opportunity, right, and then access, right, all those things. That's again, that would be, in my mind, that's success. That's success, because you're showing the next generation there's a pathway forward. There's no proverbial fence in between me and my goals, me and my dreams. I see it. I live it. I'm able to experience this, firsthand, right? That is a massive aspect of what it will take, because you've gone to games, right? You've met players. You've said, man, I could do this. Without sounding corny, if I eat my Wheaties and get good grades, I can do this, right?
That's all you got to do. Taste allows you to set those goals, because it becomes reality. And we've seen players from our community go on and make those teams. So correct. We need to have a professional team here.
Exactly, man. So I'll continue doing I'll continue tending to the part of the garden that I can touch, and positively affecting the people that I come into contact with, and hopefully it takes care of itself.
That's such a badass role that you have there.
I'm very
director of soccer.
I'm fortunate. I am very, very fortunate. I don't take it for granted. The opportunity that I've been afforded to make an impact.
Yeah, you can go to sleep, wake up with an idea, and then impact through your ideas. Like
exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, if there's anything that we can do with the Football Factory, the Mas Futbol, to elevate the soccer experience that you guys are doing, please lean on us in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. Like you have the same mission I do. So I would be remiss not to offer myself up in any way, shape, or form. Media-wise, soccer-wise, I would love to even be a fly on the wall, just to learn, because, as a person who is trying to be a coach and, trying to learn all that stuff, it's always valuable to learn from what you have around. So.
Of course, man. Well, you are a wonderful representation of all that is good within this community. So I appreciate the offer, and I'll be taking you up on it.
Perfect, man. Well, this is a great place to leave it at then. Cool. And you're more than welcome to come on again. If there's ever a message that you need to share, the podcast is available for you and Fields and Futures. So, And if you've been listening to this episode, I appreciate you guys for making it this far. Stay tuned for the next episode of the Mas Futbol Podcast. Peace.
Thank you, guys.